Alrighty, it is still Friday the 13th, and I still felt like talking about some more Friday the 13th movies. And like I said in the past, I am going to cover, excuse me, I am going to do reviews, probably individual reviews of all of them in the series one of these days. So everybody just be patient, please. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it very much. But I will get to those eventually. But for now, like I said, it is still Found Footage Friday. I just talked about Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow. And so today I figured I would talk about Never Hike Alone 2. So add a 2 in there. Yeah, there we go. I have the guy who, if you watch my unboxing video, the guy who made these and sent them to me, he actually included the second one, which I was like, hell yeah, man, I appreciate it. But they're actually all on YouTube. They're all spliced together into one cohesive movie, which is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that, which is badass. I have not watched it just quite yet. But all spliced together. I mean, I haven't watched that version of it. I've watched the Ghost Cut, which is Never Hike Alone and Never Hike in the Snow placed together, or pieced together into one with some extra stuff in there. So I think that one's called the Legendary Cut. Is all three of them put together. So if you're gonna watch this, like I said, it's free on YouTube, on Womp Stomp Films, on their channel. So check them out. I was gonna say they've actually got a lot of really cool stuff on there too, other stuff. But you can watch all of these on there, or you can watch them all individually, like I did. Well, originally saw them. I watched them as they came out. But anyway, I'll just get into it. So Never Hike Alone 2, it came out last year, actually, I believe in 2023, it kind of flew under my radar. I didn't hear anything about it, and I just happened to be online one day, and I saw they were talking about Never Hike Alone. This was actually just a few months ago, and like probably February, March, somewhere around in there, and I was like, holy shit, I didn't even realize they made one. It's almost been out for a year now, I believe. I think it came out last October. But it's also really good, just like these first two. So this one, Never Hike Alone 2, it definitely feels a little bit more. How should I say? I don't want to say big budget, but it definitely feels like it has more of a budget behind it. It does not. It feels more like a feature film rather than these. These two, which definitely, especially the first one. You can definitely tell it's an independent film. Not in a bad way, but you can just one person or two people in the movie. So on and so forth. I talked about it in my other video, but this one, like I said, definitely feels a lot more. More budgety, it has a bigger budget behind it. It's definitely more streamlined, more thought out. There's a lot more going on in it. The actors, a lot of the actors, are that. It has a lot of recurring actors, that have been present in this trilogy so far. So this one, basically, I didn't want to give it away in my last video. I hope you watched that one first, but you probably didn't if you're here on this glorious day of our Father, Father Voorhees here. But this one mainly follows Tommy Jarvis, and shows kind of. I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's mainly kind of going with him, which I really like that, because that to me makes these canon in the series, I suppose. So honestly, if you wanted to, you could lump these into like you could watch part 6 and then I'd still say watch part 7. You could probably still skip Jason Takes Manhattan, but if you watch part 6 and then part 7, and then you could fast forward all these years later and then watch Never Hike Alone 1 and 2 and Never Hike in the Snow, and they will flow fairly well. Like, they do fit not a super cohesive narrative, because of course this is Friday the 13th we're talking about, but it definitely feels like a legitimate legacy sequel, to the, I think that's what that's called nowadays, the legacy, where they do a sequel way down the line, to something like they've done it with Texas Chainsaw Massacre probably 3 times or so, but that's kind of what this is, and I like how they kind of wrap everything, wrap everything back together, and it was just really nice to see that. It was very refreshing, even though, if you watch my ranking video, I do love part 6, but it's not one of my favorites, but it's most people's favorite, and I love how they kind of lump that in together. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. It's a lot of fun. It is definitely not in the same, it's not the found footage, it shouldn't belong in Found Footage Friday. I almost didn't talk about it, but I was like, screw it, I'll go ahead and talk about it anyway. But it's a lot of fun. I really like it. I'll rank this one on its own because to me it does stand apart as more of its own film. But these all do wrap together in a nice cohesive way. I won't spoil anything, but they do all kind of tie back into one another, which I really like how they've done that. I really appreciate that very much. It made it all even more worthwhile, to see it. But yeah, like I said, free on YouTube. Definitely check it out. I'm going to rank this one as its own. I will definitely give it also probably a 4 out of 5, just like I did the others. You know what? Actually, I'm going to give this one just because it's Friday the 13th, I'm feeling generous. 4.5 out of 5 is what I'm going to give Never Hike Alone 2. We're still talking about part 2 here. Never Hike Alone 2, I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5 because I do think it's better than this first one and Never Hike in the Snow. I enjoyed it better. Like I said, it feels more like an actual movie. And since that one's fresher, like I said, it hasn't been out near as long, so you may not have seen that one, or if you're like me and you live under a rock or live in a cave, you might not have even really, might not have even known that it came out, just like me. Same director, I believe, same guy who plays Jason, and again we get the ghost Jason in this, which is awesome. We get Tommy Jarvis again, he's excellent, which is Tom Matthews, by the way, from the original, my goodness, the original Friday the 13th. I am slow today, people. I apologize. But yeah, so anyway, I think that's going to wrap it up for this Friday the 13th. Stay tuned for the next Friday the 13th. We'll have to do something else since we covered this one. And, maybe it won't be Found Footage Friday then. Because like I said in that last video, I'm not going to do the Found Footage Friday forever. I'm really going to kind of break these down into seasons. I have not decided how I'm going to do that, or when I'm going to do that, or what I'm going to do to change it, but just know that's kind of where my head is at, and that's kind of what I'm thinking. So on each season, I'll try to do something special, I guess. This one just happened to be first because it had a nice ring to it. I didn't plan to do that. I was just like, I'll just do Found Footage Friday, because I knew I was going to do one every Monday, and I was going to do one every Friday. So that's kind of the story behind that. But like I said, I won't do that forever. I'm just gonna, excuse me, until I feel. I'm sorry, I got the hiccups, you guys. Until I feel like I don't want to do that anymore. I apologize. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up before. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit quicker. Oh my God, Never Hike Alone 2. Definitely check it out. 4.5 out of 5. Excuse me. Highly recommend all 3 of these films. Free on YouTube. Don't skip them at all. Have a happy Friday the 13th, and I hope you hope you have a good rest of your just normal day. If you're not celebrating Friday the 13th, if you're not, I don't know what you're doing here. They went away. I'm so glad. But anyway, have a great day. Stay tuned for the next episode. Goodbye.